Final. Come championship bound, baby! Woo! Big up, baby! Woo! Here, man. It got a little crazy out there, but we made it through.
We're gonna keep stacking the day, so see you in the championship.
Bow, bow, bow! Let's go!
You poke the queen and the kingdom comes for you? That's exactly what happened on June 17th. What was supposed to be just another WNBA matchup turned into an all-out war. The Indiana Fever weren't just playing the Connecticut Sun. They were settling a score, one that had been brewing since May 30th, when two of their players got blindsided, injured, and left on the floor without so much as a foul called. But this time, everyone remembered, especially Caitlin Clark, especially Sophie Cunningham. And when JC Sheldon made the mistake of jabbing her finger into Clark's eye mid-game, let's just say the Fever lit up.
Here is Clark, splashing home a three from way downtown. Kelly escorting her back to the bench. JC Sheldon is there with her hand in her face.
May 30th was ugly, really ugly. To Indiana Fever players, Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson were injured in the same game. And the common denominator, one player, JC Sheldon, first. Cunningham went down with a brutal ankle injury and even lost part of a tooth. Then Colson twisted her leg in a freak collision where Sheldon came crashing down on her knee. It looked reckless, it was reckless, and the worst part, the refs let it slide. Not a flagrant, not even a warning. Caitlin Clark watched all of it happen, and you could see it in the handshake line in the post-game interview that this wasn't over. Fast forward to June 17th, Caitlin Clark is back from a quad injury. It's her second game since returning, and the Fever had just handed the undefeated New York Liberty their first loss. Confidence through the roof, but this game had history behind it. As Clark walked onto the court, her eyes locked with the Sun players. She wasn't smiling, she wasn't joking. You could feel it. She came for blood, and JC Sheldon? She picked up right where she left off. From the opening tip, she was all over Clark, bumping her on screens, shadowing her every step, even trash-talking during dead balls. It wasn't basketball, it was personal. She wanted to rattle Clark, but Clark didn't flinch. She answered with deep threes and slick assists. The arena was electric. Every possession felt like it might explode. And then it did. Midway through the third quarter, with the Fever trailing by 10, Clark brings the ball up the court. Sheldon closes in, fast. Then boom, a finger straight into Clark's eye. It's not subtle. It's not a graze. Clark's head jerks. Back in pain, she stumbles, grabbing her face. And the crowd loses it. Everyone saw what happened. Everyone knew who did it. But instead of a whistle for the obvious eye poke, the refs blew the whistle on Clark. She shoved Sheldon away, trying to create space after taking a finger to the eyeball, and got hit with a technical foul. You heard that right. I poked equals Clark's tech, not Sheldon's. That's when things got completely out of control. Right after Clark got hit with that absurd technical foul, the tension in the building was at a boiling point. Then Marine and Mabry decided to take it from tense to dangerous. While Clark was still trying to recover, literally squinting and wiping at her eye, Mabry came charging. She didn't go for the ball. She didn't go for a clean contest. She body checked Caitlin Clark like it was the NHL, sent her flying backward onto the court. No warning, no reason, just a full speed hit. The arena erupted. Fans were pointing at the replay boards, shouting at the refs. Even players on the bench stood up, screaming. It was obvious this wasn't basketball, it was retaliation, and yet somehow the referees only gave her a common technical foul. The same as Clark. Let that sink in. Clark gets poked in the eye and defends herself. Technical. Mabry body slams her like a linebacker. Same punishment. No ejection, no flagrant. Just chaos. Even the announcers were stunned. Asterisk final minute of the game. The Fever are up big, 87-70. The game is over by scoreboard standards, but not in Sophie Cunningham's mind. Not even close. JC Sheldon gets the ball and starts sprinting toward the rim for a fast break layup, but Sophie Cunningham has one goal left. She runs right alongside Sheldon, and at the perfect moment, she wraps her up in a hard, deliberate bear hug and pulls her to the ground. It wasn't subtle, it wasn't sneaky, and it wasn't accidental. This was payback. Sophie didn't go for her knees, she didn't slam her to the floor WWE style, but it was clear she meant to send a message. You hurt my teammates. You poked our star in the eye, and if the refs won't protect us, I will. The refs didn't hesitate this time. Cunningham was hit with a flagrant and immediately ejected. Sheldon and Lindsay Allen were tossed for their roles in the scuffle, but Sophie didn't care. The crowd exploded in chants of Sophie. Sophie, her teammates mobbed her with praise. That moment wasn't about the scoreboard, it was about drawing a line in the sand. You don't mess with the Fever and walk away untouched. When the dust settled, the Fever walked away with an 88-71 statement win. But it was never just about the score. It was about respect, protection, loyalty. Caitlin Clark finished with 20 points and 6 assists, leading the charge. Natasha Howard dropped a double-double with 16 points and 12 rebounds. Kelsey Mitchell added 17 more, but ask anyone what they'll remember from that night. And it wasn't the stats. It was Sophie Cunningham standing tall, literally taking the fall to defend her teammate, and the message to the rest of the WNBA? Crystal clear: if you come for one of us, you're coming for all of us. For weeks, people asked, why isn't anyone protecting Caitlin Clark? Well, now they have their answer. The referees might not have done their job, but the Indiana Fever handled it themselves. And when they did, the crowd didn't just cheer. They roared. They chanted her name like she was a legend. Sophie. Sophie, Sophie. Asterisk, this wasn't just a win. It was a turning point. The Indiana Fever are now headed to their first ever Commissioner's Cup final, where they'll face the Minnesota Lynx on July 1st. But more importantly, they're entering that game as a unified force, not just a team, but a family. What happened on June 17th will be remembered for more than just the drama. It was the night the Fever stood their ground. When they said enough to cheap shots, eye pokes, and body checks. When they showed the league that loyalty still matters in professional sports. Caitlin Clark took the hits. Sophie Cunningham responded with fire. And together, they set the tone for what the Indiana Fever really are: tough, loyal, uncheckable. As fans, you felt that. You saw it, and that's why Sophie's jersey? It's probably already sold out. That one moment turned her from a player into a protector, into a legend. And as for the rest of the league, they've been warned. If you stand with the Fever, drop a CC and spicy Sophie in the comments. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications, because this team isn't done. The Fever are just getting started.